Looks like this Kambursky guy is a hobby gardener. Even his garden hose is green. An old bicycle spoke, and proof that I'll take just any old piece of junk with me. I've reinforced the opening of the bag with the bucket's handle. Just a little more tape around it. Yeah, that should do it. That could work. Wonderful. Let's see if the recording of Oleg's phone conversation gets me anywhere.
Kalenkov isn't here anymore. No, Tunguska wasn't mentioned, but there wasn't any opportunity to either. Yeah, I just think someone urgently needs to take care of the matter. All right, so you'll call back then. Bye.
Well, that wasn't very productive. Okay, so this is what we have. Someone should be tending to some kind of matter. I hope the matter isn't me. Besides that, something about Tunguska. There was also something in the mail for Oleg. Maybe I should ask Max about that later. Max Gruber said he'd be back at the museum sometime this evening. I should use the time to get some shut-eye. If my feminine intuition doesn't fail me, I could regret it if I don't.
Did you get what I wanted?
Not yet. We've searched through everything, but haven't found anything.
And Kalenkov?
Still nothing here either. We'll probably have to take other options into consideration.
I don't care what you do, as long as I get results. Don't disappoint me.
Strange. I feel like I'm always being followed. Even when I came home earlier, for a brief moment, I thought that I saw the face of that Konsky guy in the window.
Oh well, most likely it's my nerves. I hope Max heard something from my father.
Hello? Can I interrupt for a moment?
You're not interrupting. On the contrary. Have you heard from your father?
No, unfortunately not. And last night I was attacked.
Attacked? Are you hurt?
No, nothing to worry about. But it must be because of something important. Do you really have no idea what it could be?
No, He's been under a lot of stress in the last few days, but that's happened before. Looking back, there are plenty of ways to interpret it, but especially conspicuous? No, not really.
That's a shame. Yesterday evening you offered me your help. Does the offer still stand?
But of course. My name is Max, by the way.
Nina. But you know that, don't you?
So, ask away.
In the last few hours, I've heard the name Tunguska several times. Do you know anything about it?
Do you mean that Tunguska catastrophe from 1908?
Yes, could be.
At the beginning of the last century, something exploded there. The destruction must have been enormous, but even today nobody really knows what happened back then. Your father once took part in an expedition to Tunguska, but you probably know that, don't you?
We never really spoke much about what he used to do. After my mother's death, he never wanted to speak about his work in Russia anymore.
Oh, I didn't know. I'm sorry.
That's okay. It was a long time ago. She was killed in a traffic accident. Shortly after that, we came to Germany. I think my father simply wanted to leave all of that behind him.
And your father never spoke about his work in Russia? Didn't you ever ask him?
No. He asked me never to ask him again, and I kept my word, despite being very interested at times.
Well, I know a little more about it. In 1908, an unidentified object went down over the Siberian taiga. A huge area was completely destroyed by the shockwave and a wall of fire. The shepherds who lived there, the so-called evenk, were either hurled through the air or burnt. There were hardly any survivors to witness anything. Several expeditions were started to find out the cause of this catastrophe, but despite all their efforts, no clues or any evidence was found that was at all helpful. And in time, several fantastic theories arose, from a meteorite colliding with Earth, to the appearance of an unknown type of energy, to the explosion of a spaceship. And off the top of my head, that is about everything that I can tell you on the subject. But somewhere in the archive I still have a few articles over the Tunguska phenomenon lying around. Shall I go and get them?
Yes, that would be sweet of you. Oleg spoke about it, and I read one of my father's mails to him. There was also something about it in there. Maybe it will bring me a little further.
Okay, I just have to get a few small things done here, and then I'll have a look around the archive.
Thank you very much. Yesterday evening, Eddie was mumbling something about people in black robes. I didn't take him very seriously at first, because his description was, let's say, a little strange. But I spoke to a little girl today who saw something similar last night. She even took a photo of the men in black robes. Unfortunately, there is not very much to see, but I'll certainly speak to Eddie about it again. Do you know where I can find him?
No, I have no idea. I haven't seen him all day. He's probably crept away somewhere quiet to think about it all.
You mean he's drinking again?
Yes, I'm afraid so. Unless...
Unless what?
Oh, nothing.
Nothing? Come on out with it, tell me.
Well, if those strange men in black noticed that he was watching them...
You mean they came back?
I don't know. At the moment, I have no idea what is actually happening here.
Well, this is something we have in common.
I found this piece of paper amongst my father's records. Does it tell you anything?
LA 60 8K19 AL? That sounds like one of our exhibits. What about it?
No idea. I was hoping that you could tell me that.
Not spontaneously, but I can go and get the item. The note with the description of the diadem is missing, but you just had it in your hand. Well, I don't know any more about it either.
Thanks a lot. Can I take my time to have a look at it?
Of course, but please don't forget to put it back later. Otherwise your father will tear my head off.
If he still can.
Hey, stop thinking like that. We'll find him, I promise.
Yes, hopefully. There must be an important reason why Daddy kept a piece of paper with the description of the diadem at home. But what?
And what is that about the true princess? He used to call me that sometimes.
Is it a message to me that I should be able to understand somehow? Think, Nina. Think quickly. Does the name Oleg Kambursky say anything to you?
Kambursky? Oleg Kambursky? No, nothing. Should it?
Unfortunately, I don't exactly know that either. The things out of the archive about Tunguska.
Yes, I'll get going now. But it could take a while until I've sorted through the records.
No problem. I'll wait here.
Let's see what we find here. Plaster of Paris. The text says to add water and vegetable oil and mix to achieve the desired consistency. Looks kind of threatening. That red eye on the totem seems to be following me everywhere I go. I don't even believe in magic and all that stuff, but I find it creepy anyway. If I swipe things from Max's office, he certainly won't keep helping me, but I'd like to get rid of this eye. An old bicycle spoke, and so the spoke has now broken off, but that eye now can no longer look at me in that evil way. I can only hope that Max doesn't notice. The label is illegible, but judging from the skull and the other symbols, it must be extremely corrosive. I'll carefully pour the acid over the stone. The acid is doing its work admirably. The stone is beginning to corrode. I'll have to take it out of the acid at the right moment, otherwise the inclusion... The light is refracted 1,000 times in the amethyst. This must have broken off one of the lights. I've laid the broken glass over the lens glass, and now the lenses have... I've laid the broken glass over the lens glass, and... That thing doesn't fit in there That thing doesn't fit in there... No, I'm not gonna take this "your father has to be dead before we'll look for him" crap again. If I turn the valve now, I'll ruin the whole floor. Oops. Maybe I shouldn't have opened the valve that far. A load of water has come out. The bowl is half full of water. The putty is ready for use. I hope I know what I'm doing. That diadem has now been robbed of any beauty it once had. Great! It fits! Yes, that should hold. I hope that thing is in the right position. As soon as the putty has dried, I'll only be able to get it off with brute force. I'd better leave that on, otherwise I won't be able to see anything in here. Whether I'll get any brighter? Wow, it works! I'd better leave that on, otherwise I won't be able to see anything in here. Somebody seems to have marked one of the rooms with invisible ink, And it has just been revealed by the colored light beam. I have no idea where this room 8 is located exactly because there's no map key. Although it seems to be one of the rooms that are being renovated.
Wow, not bad. I only go away for a few minutes and you transform the museum into a light show.
Oh, I'm sorry, but
That's okay. But what is all this stuff and what does it mean?
I don't exactly know either. But if this riddle really comes from my father, then he must have had an extremely good reason for the whole effort.
Have you found anything out yet?
I'm still working on it. And you? Is there anything new on the subject of Tunguska?
Not a lot. Here, I found these 2 articles.
The light beam has changed the color of the escape plan on the wall. A room with the number 8 seems to be highlighted. Is that one of the rooms that is currently being renovated?
Yes, and they've been renovating it for ages. The complete substance of this house is, unfortunately, no longer the best, and the workers are having a lot of problems completing the job.
Was there anything special in that room?
Well, no, not really. All of the exhibits from that room are currently stored in my office. Are you looking for something specific?
If only I knew.
We can go straight to my office. Maybe you'll find something there to help you out. Come on into my office and we'll have a look at the exhibits from room 8. Have a look around. All these things are out of the room that's being renovated.
It looks ancient. Although I saw one like these in some Swedish furniture store only last week. I think this one, however, is ancient. A vase from the Ming Dynasty. I broke one like this when I was a kid. That could be an antique. Unfortunately, that's about all I can say about it. It looks ancient. Although I saw one like these in some Swedish furniture store only last week. I think this one, however, is ancient. A pygmy warrior's shield from the year 1687 or 1688 in the region of Asia, or something like that. It's already been plundered. If I remember correctly from the documentation on the Incas that I have seen recently, these kinds of masks were worn during ritual sacrifices. That thing has obviously just been set in there. It doesn't belong to the relief disc. I think that must be some sort of calendar, but how to read it is what I don't know. I got that thing out of the Aztec relief disc in Max's office. I have no idea whether it is a medal or a coin or what, but the horseman looks like a skeleton. I don't want to take it along, and besides, I don't have the foggiest idea what I should do with it. The coin seems to complete the set. The note says, and the prince said to the princess, whether vertical, horizontal, or in both main diagonals, make sure that there is never a repeat within a line. Does that have... The note says, and the prince said to the princess, whether vertical, horizontal, or in both main diagonals, make sure that there is never a repeat within a line. Does that have something to do with the coins? Oops! That opened up a trap door. It appears to be some kind of secret compartment. What could my father need one for? It contains documents. It has to do with my father's research expeditions. It's written here that in 1958, he was the leader of a secret expedition into the Tunguska region. Apparently after the 1958 expedition, someone in the highest position tried to keep the results secret. It has to do with some strange plant growth. Daddy wanted to continue his research, but all further investigations were prohibited. Then apparently he did travel to the region again himself, only in the company of a certain Manuel Perez and a local guide. That was in 1977. If I understand this correctly, a lot went wrong on this expedition. Something awful happened to Perez, and both of them were arrested. My father has not been able to find out what exactly happened to him that night, and Perez disappeared without a trace from that time forward. Daddy writes later that here at the latest, he should have realized that human life is always more important than research.
What does he mean? Maybe I should ask Max. He'd be able to help me with all the formulae and explain the scientific expressions. And this is a letter from some society in Ireland. But these are just empty pages? I definitely need help. Maybe Max knows something about it all.
Sorry, I still don't have anything.
But how that is connected with my father's disappearance, I don't yet know. But I have found some of his records in a secret compartment. They describe a secret expedition and some very strange events and...
Hey, slow down. I can't follow you that quickly.
The best thing to do would be to come with me to my father's office. I'll show you the records, and then we should perhaps have a look at his filing cabinet.
Okay, let's go.
I told you that I didn't want to see you here again. Believe me, it really would have been better if you had kept out of it. Now I have no other choice but to... Ah!
Looks like I came just in time. Are you okay?
Yes, I think so. What did the detective want from us anyway?
Did he want to shoot us?
Well, he probably doesn't have his weapon trained on you just for the fun of it. We should get away from here before this guy wakes up. I'm sorry that I was so unfriendly when we first met. For some time now, I've had the feeling that I'm being pursued, and my nerves are shot right now. Of course I know your father. To be precise, I have known him for a very long time, and I know him very well. I was with him on one of his expeditions back then. We were in the Tunguska region back then, together with the Cuban Manuel Perez, an Irish biologist whose name I can't recall at the moment, and some assistants. I don't want to get into details regarding the events of the past, but for some reason, someone appears to be very interested right now. I have the feeling that not only your father, but I as well am in danger, and possibly all members of that past expedition still living. Of course, I can't prove it, but if I'm not mistaken, the Russian Secret Service, FSB, could be behind it. They already tried back then to prevent us, and your father in particular, from undertaking further expeditions. You know about your mother?
My mother? Why? What does she have to do with anything?
You know that she died in an accident?
Yes, but...
It is rather questionable whether it really was an accident. You were in the car as well. I was driving behind you when the car suddenly crashed through a bridge railing and plunged into a river. I was barely able to get you out of there. But when I tried to save your mother, 2 of my fingers were torn off. Therefore...
Daddy never told me anything about that.
I'm certain he tried not to burden you with that as well. The 2 of us have already reproached ourselves enough. But enough about the past. Now we have to find your father again. Due to the events of the last few days, I activated a few of my contacts. One of them is Sergei, who is moving in circles which, well, I'd rather not be found anywhere near them. But he knows just about everything that no one is actually supposed to know. According to his information, a research station was built in the Tunguska region decades ago, and now another transport is planned to go there. Supposedly, not all the scientists who are to be transported there are participating voluntarily. This research trip and the disappearance of your dad a few days before its start could very well be linked.
Does that mean my father was kidnapped and is now sitting on a train to Siberia? What do they want from him?
Even if, officially, he hasn't been active in research for years, he is still an expert in his field. I am sure that Sergei could help us.
I have to go to Moscow?
I have an airplane. We could be there in a few hours. I know this is all quite a lot to swallow at once, but if your dad is really on that train, we have no time to lose. As soon as he reaches the Tunguska region, we'll barely be able to get him out again. The area around the station is too heavily guarded.
What do you mean?
I don't know, but maybe it is the only chance. So let's go.
It would be good if someone stayed behind, in case Vladimir does get in touch after all.
But...
Nina, we should go if we want another chance to get there before the train leaves.
I suppose I could have another look at your father's records, but I don't have a good feeling.
Great. Then let's go.
Take good care of yourself, okay?
I'll do my very best. I wish I could.
Yes, me too. Good luck.
Oh, Oleg didn't tell me you were such a beauty. If I had known that, my price would have gone down.
Yes, I'm happy to see you too. You can help me in the search for my father?
Sergei can do a lot of things. Some say Sergei can do everything. But Sergei is martyr, so let's just stick with Sergei can do almost everything.
Yes. Modesty honors you.
What can I do for you?
I thought you knew that.
Sure. But Sergei needs all the information again firsthand. And looking at your mouth and your moving lips...
Are you going to help me, or just gawk?
How does the saying go? One hand washes the other...
Okay. So, my father has disappeared. I only wanted to meet him in the museum where he worked. And as I arrived...
Yeah. Sergei knows that.
Then what do you want to know?
What did your father do in the last few weeks? What was he working on? Who was he working for?
Quite honestly, I have no idea. I have never really spoken to my father to any extent about his work. He tends to hold hour-long lectures about scientific things, and after a few minutes, I tend to fall half asleep. Then at some time, we agreed to leave the subject of work out of our conversations.
Not good. Really not good.
Yes, I know, but it doesn't matter now anyway. But again, I really don't know what it was, or for who he has been working for recently. Besides his work for the museum, he still held lectures and prepared reports, but I can't be any more exact than that. All I know is that in the last few days he seemed a bit unconcentrated, as if he was especially concerned with something. But what that was?
That gets us nowhere. A couple of birdies told me in the last few days that another train is leaving for the Tunguska region today. It has to do with some kind of scientific experiments. What kind exactly, I don't know. But it's not important now. In any case, a few old friends have been reactivated.
Old friends? Reactivated?
Scientists and people who know the area who were in the Tunguska region in the past, they were, well, asked to cooperate. Some came voluntarily. Others had to be persuaded.
Ah, I understand.
Good. Be that as it may, your father may be with them.
Is he in danger?
If he doesn't do anything stupid, he won't have any problems normally.
But how are we going to get him out?
We aren't going to get him out at all. But as I've already said, Sergei can do almost everything. An old acquaintance is standing at the side entrance of the train station. He'll take you in and give you a pass and a uniform. As soon as you're on board the train, you should be able to find enough time to look around. The guards on board are usually busy drinking and playing cards during the trip. Oh, and by the way, you're traveling under the name Nina Perkova. Your last name could give you away if your father is actually on board.
So I get in the train, eliminate all the guards, and free my father. Alone? Great plan. Just great.
When you find him, then we'll see how you'll get your father out. Not to worry. Sergei would never leave such a sweet ass hanging.
Okay, that's a relief then. I'm sorry. I'm a little bit nervous about my father. I really am happy that you could help me. Thank you.
That's okay, little one. They don't call Sergei the good soul of Moscow for nothing. And don't forget, even if you get information that you don't know what to do with, Sergei can certainly figure it out.
Okay, I'll see what I can find out.
Nice weather we're having, isn't it? Yeah. It's much too nice to sit around out here. Comrade Yushin is taking your shift now. Isn't that nice of him?
What? Why? Come with me. Let's chat a bit.
It doesn't seem to be my lucky day today. Was that a coincidence, or did they find out that Sergei bribed one of the guards? In any case, I now have a huge problem. Sergei has gone. My cell phone has no signal here, and I have to get onto the train fast. Nina, it's time for a stroke of genius. I need an idea.